Welcome back to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, Chapter 10, the only podcast where we analyse the 1999 Rennie Harlin classic, Deep Blue Sea, one deep blue scene at a time. And this week we have another very special guest. It's our second Heather in a row, actually. From the MILFcast and Header Time, it's Heather Baxendale Walsh.
Hi, you know there can only be one Heather, right?
One at a time, yes. And I forgot, I haven't actually introduced myself yet. I'm Jake Lewis.
We had to get to Heather first, right? I mean, we had to get to Heather. I mean, she wanted this section, right, to talk about poor Jim.
Yeah.
So let's introduce very special guest.
And of course, you're Mark Hoffmeyer.
Hello.
There we go. Everyone's introduced. Fine. First time that's happened. Good. So yes, today we're talking about Chapter 10. The official chapter title is Whitlock's Accident. This is where things start to get serious, and the sharks may not be entirely as they seem. We've been hinted at in the past, but this is the first scene where somebody loses an arm. Stuff gets bloody, blood is shed, and then from this point on, we're in it.
Can I ask you all a question before we get into this?
Yeah.
All right. So they're on the elevator. They're heading up to the helicopter that's coming. And there's a scene where Janice looks at Jim and says, "We'll take you to the place that you always wanted to go." Where is that place?
Wow, I missed that line.
I did it as well.
So I put the CC on, and I got these new headphones, and I was hearing things in this movie. This is like play a Beatles album backwards, freaky. The stuff I was hearing, right? So she kind of whispers in his ear, and she's talking to him, Janice, because Thomas Jane, Carter Blake, and Russell just keep talking to him, keep him there. They're trying to get everyone out. Let's move. While Susan McAllister's like, "I'm not really this kind of doctor." You're like, what? But where does Jim? What we know about Jim? He has a god complex. He pees in the wind. He smokes indoors.
Several ex-wives.
Yes. Where does he always want to go? Disneyland? What is something Jim would want to see and actually enjoy?
Perhaps riding a shark while he's smoking and pissing in the wind at the same time.
So
that's
orca,
tricky.
Like orca. So this would be. So he goes to SeaWorld.
Yeah. What if it's just SeaWorld? What if that's
and
where
then
he
it
wants to
becomes
go?
a rust and bone situation where he gets his legs bit off, like Marion Cotillard, and then he becomes a bare knuckle boxing promoter.
That must be his dream. Yeah.
Or perhaps it's an alternate movie dimension and he wants to go to Jurassic Park because Sam Jackson is there and he believes that he's actually Arnold from Jurassic Park, so he can go ride a dinosaur.
Yeah, what's good is the place he always wants to go is La Sauna. Always has been.
There you
go. Yeah, the Cinco Muertes.
Do you think you guys have seen Dr. Strangelove when Slim Pickens rides the bomb out of a plane? Would he want to ride a shark out of a cargo plane?
Oh.
A shark with laser beams attached to its freaking head. Yes.
Yeah. I have some questions. Why is the shark in a cargo plane?
Well, this is terrible, but the shark's it's just a generic shark. It's gonna splat, but then he'll parachute off.
So he's not like diving into the water from a cargo plane. It could have been like a Sharknado situation, which we talked about last week, where the shark is up there.
Tragic.
Okay, Jim's trying to save a shark. He jumps out of the airplane to try and wrangle midair a shark that's been thrown from a Sharknado.
So we're talking Terminal Velocity with Charlie Sheen, where he jumps after a car and a woman's in the trunk. He opens the trunk, they attach themselves together, and then he saves her. And then when he saves the shark bites his arm off.
So he gets the shark out of the trunk of a car for reasons unknown. And then to thank him, the shark bites off his arm, and then he one-armedly, bleeding stumpedly, wrangles the shark and saves it down to the water.
Is this the trip that he wants to go on?
It's the trip I want to go on.
It's the shark's just being a shark. You can't blame the shark for being a shark.
Yeah. It's pretty cruel what they're doing to the shark, actually.
Yes, it is. They pay for their sins.
Yeah. That'd be funny. It's a time loop movie. It's like Groundhog Day where he keeps trying to save his arm. And no matter what he does, it just keeps getting hacked off at the end of the day. Then he wakes up. He just can't avoid a day without losing an arm. He stays in bed. Something falls on him.
Okay, that would be significantly worse than any horror film I've seen.
No matter where you're at. It's like a hot tub time machine where you just keep waiting for the guy's arm to get ripped off and they don't get involved.
A Final Destination thing where you're looking for whatever is coming upon you, but you're not going to die. You're just going to have to live for another portion of a day without actually dying, just being limbless.
JCVD comes from the past, freezes your arm, and kicks it off, like in Time Cop.
Or Demolition Man.
Okay, I'd sign.
Yeah.
There
Yep.
you go.
Man, this sounds like a great movie. Groundhog Day with Stellan Skarsgård, where he just keeps losing limbs,
Yeah,
and then he wakes up fine.
and JCVD and a shark in a trunk of a car, a boot of a car, flying through the air. Yeah, well, this writes
Well,
itself.
obviously. Yeah. We could sell it right now.
I think
Wow.
we
If
just
it,
did.
if it was I think we did. If it was animated, I think we could have this done like next week.
I mean, yeah, give me 12 hours.
I can do stick people fantastically. Nobody draws stick people like me. They all look the same, but they have different feet, so I'm pretty good.
I'll do some sound effects.
I want to see the Leica version of this, but I just don't want to wait 8 years.
No, we can't have
No.
that. No.
No.
Arm loss is such a staple of horror.
Yeah. It's well, horror and any kind of movie where there's a katana involved.
Yeah,
Or a lightsaber.
Yes, ninja assassin. Yeah, lightsaber too. Yes. Both Anakin and Luke. There you go.
I think every Star Wars film has at least one arm loss or limb loss.
Well, what's the point of watching if not?
Yeah, I mean, you have a weapon that will cauterize a wound as it cuts. You're gonna use it. It's what it's for.
Can I tell y'all something? If I had a lightsaber, I wouldn't do harm with it. Like, I know this is bad, but I would just become an arborist, because you know how easy your job would be? Like, instead of sawing a tree or axing it, like, John Henry would be really mad at me if I had a lightsaber.
Yeah, my cousin's a tree surgeon, and he's like boasting about the size of his chainsaw, and it's like, it's just get a lightsaber, man. It'd be so much easier.
So much easier. Though chainsaws are actually pretty freaking fun. And they're also good for cutting limbs off. If you're going for the grotesque.
Well, I mean, they're designed for cutting tree limbs off, so it's right there in the name.
In Evil Dead, do they not cut their legs off, or their arms off with chainsaws?
At
I
least
think you're
one.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the remake. I wrote down a list here. So in American Dead Snow, he chops his arm off with a chainsaw. But then there's Sleepaway Camp 3, Saw 3, Hatchet,
Oh, yeah.
The Thing, where he gets his arms bit off.
Oh,
Deep
yeah.
Blue Sea, Jason X, where a frozen Jason Voorhees falls and chops off a kid's arm. Then you have Halloween 3. You have Shark Night, where a guy gets his arm bit off, and then he fights a hammerhead shark with one arm and kills it.
That's
Amazing.
just glory.
Amazing. Dawn of the Dead, the guy getting his blood test. Then you have Mangler. And then you have 2019's glorious movie Crawl.
Yeah.
World War Z, where Jerry hacks off Segan's arm. Predator. Idle Hands. That's the whole
Predator,
movie.
yes.
Carl Weathers gets his... Oof.
That's such a great scene.
But Bad Batch, they're eating her arms and legs.
Well, there's Snowpiercer. Ewan Bremner has his arm frozen off outside the train.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just like naming arms.
Aragorn cuts off Lurtz's arms before he hacks his head off. I'm
That
a
was
big fan
awesome.
of decapitation, too.
That was a great decap. I don't like So I was watching Jason Takes Manhattan for this article I'm writing, or a video I'm writing, and Jason punches a guy's head clean off.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But, like, okay, so there's tendons, and there are muscles and nerves and bone, and it just goes. So I get why the Mako shark could bite Jim's arms off like butter, but that head punch, everything that's a amazing punch. Like, I know when Jason Lives, he chops off 3 people's heads with one swing. What's more impressive? Jason Lives cutting off 3 people's heads with one swing of machete, or punching a head off?
Punching the head off.
Yeah.
The machete is impressive, but that's actually plausible.
Yeah.
The punching the head off is just, that's another level of insanity right there. I'm imagining it and picturing it in my head right now, and it's just wonderful.
How funny would that be if a shark swung its tail and just bopped off Scoggins' head in this too?
But as long as his leg still twitches, I'm on board. As long as we have to have that horrific leg twitch. That's got to stay.
His whole body would be
That was
Spasming.
terrible and wonderful.
Hey, Heather, do you like
Yes.
Highlander?
I do.
Because that's an entire film series based off chopping off people's heads.
Exactly. It's the only way you can kill them.
It can be only one.
There can only be one.
Jeez.
One Heather. That's it.
Heather and the One?
Heather and the one. Not the one, but will be the one.
That sounds like a fun movie. Heather and the One. It's just you and a Highlander. Who is the one?
That is.
Just you wandering around with Christopher Lambert.
Hey, so what are we gonna do now?
It's just
There's
the
no
two
more
of us.
Highlanders.
But there can be only
Yeah.
one.
I mean, he can't fight any more people. So does he open a sandwich shop? Like, what does the Highlander do?
He does open the sandwich shop because he knows that ducks eat for free at Subway, and he wants to be competitive, and he wants the geese to be able to eat for free. So he opens the sandwich shop just so geese can be equally fed for free.
Would you give them sun chips?
No, I'd throw them at them. Hopefully stab one of them.
A duck walks in to a grocery store and grabs some sun chips. I love Mitch Hedberg.
He's the best.
Escalators can never break down. They only become stairs.
Sorry for the convenience.
Do you think if they would have strapped Jim Whitlock to a bunch of lemon and limes, he would have been better off than that thing that he was attached to in the helicopter?
Yes. Oh, good glory.
Sorry, Jay.
I'm less familiar with Mitch Hedberg than I should be. I've seen some jokes, and that's about it. I love the epitome of hyperbole is the Mitch Hedberg I remember. That's about it.
Man, that guy's the best.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love him. But yeah, so Jay, you
So
want to talk about this clip?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're chapter 10. This is the scene where last week we had the successful test. They've proven that the protein they've extracted from the shark's brain invigorated the Alzheimer's brain cells. And they don't have much time to celebrate because Jim strikes up a cigarette, goes and has a little chat with the shark. He's like, "We did it, buddy. You did it." And then the shark bites his arm off. And hilarity ensues. Everyone rushes over. Bloody stump. Carter goes to shoot the shark. And Dr. Susan McAllister is like, "No!" and slides to the button and releases it back into the water. And they get Jim on the elevator. And that's the minute. That's the chapter, basically.
It goes by really fast.
It does. It is one of our shortest chapters so far. It's only it's 2 minutes 10, so it is the second shortest so far, and one of the shortest overall. But there's still quite a bit happens in it. As I say, it's a turning point. This is like the end of Act 1. This is, I mean, the characters have begun to die. No one's dead yet, but Jim's on his way.
Yes, they even give you the teaser in the first scene where you think that the teenagers who are about to have sex and are drinking are going to die, but they're like, no. So you don't even. This is the first, I think, sight of blood that we get. Which...
Yeah, we've had a shark die. The tiger shark was fed to the other 3 sharks in a previous chapter, but this is our first character whose defining characteristic isn't a license plate in their mouth. This is like a character we know with a name and dialogue and everything. This
is where stuff gets real. This is where it turns into disaster / horror film.
There's a lot of slipping and sliding in this scene.
This is where it begins.
And can you do me a favor, Heather? I want you to do something for me, if you don't mind. You have Brenda Kearns, played by Ada Turturro, Preacher, LL Cool J, Jim Whitlock, Stellan Skarsgård, Tom Scoggins, Michael Rappaport, Janice Higgins, Jacqueline McKenzie, Russell Franklin, Sam Jackson, Susan McAllister, Saffron Burrows, and Carter Blake, Thomas Jane. You have these 8 actors. They have a slip and slide competition. Who are the top 3?
Well, hang on. What are the? How do you determine the best? Who slides the furthest? Who has the best slide?
So who goes the furthest of the 3?
Absolutely Sam Jackson, because he stares at everybody and they just freeze and tear. So he gets a head start and takes his damn time. And then after that, I would say Thomas Jane, because he's wearing the wetsuit through the entire film, so he has all of that dynamics. And then after that, LL Cool J, because he has the bird who is still alive and helps him with his ginormous wingspan and sarcasm to make jokes.
Thomas Jane certainly has the most practice at sliding.
So he attaches a rope to the bird, and the
It's
bird
just the
pulls
bird
him
pulling
while
him along.
slipping and sliding?
Yep, while he's drinking his cooking sherry. Yep.
It's a tiny little bird.
I know. LL Cool J's a big dude.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that if you set up an infinite slip and slide, that Thomas Jane would just never stop.
I think that's plausible.
He would just keep going.
So the secret to perpetual motion is get Thomas Jane on a slip and slide in a circle, and it would just power the world forever.
Yeah, you know those things that people put on their desks? I want one of those on my desk. That's just a miniature of
Newton's
TJ
cradle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, a Super Tom Newton's cradle.
That would be inspiration from day to day, certainly.
Just keep going. That's what it says.
Just keep sliding. Just keep sliding.
Just keep sliding.
In the film Hollow Man, whenever Kevin Bacon looks up, whenever he's tired in his apartment, it says you should be working. It's not a good movie, but I like that. For me, I have a sign